Greetings, friends. I'm AK.
And I'm Laura.
And we are
The Chainsaw Girls. On today's episode, dude, I am so pumped. I feel like I say that every single time, but today I am pumped.
I mean, we're always talking about movies that we're pumped about.
No, that's true.
At least one of us are pumped about
That
it.
is true. That is true. Today we are covering 1981's Halloween 2.
Yes, I could not find this streaming anywhere. It looks like you just have to purchase it.
Yeah, I had it on Fandango already. I guess I think this was a couple Halloweens ago. I just purchased a whole bunch of horror movies and Halloween 2 happened to be one of them.
It's a good purchase.
I know. I want the physical copy though. That's what I need.
Yeah, definitely. I love getting like the Blu-rays or DVDs when they have bonuses and it's
the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Halloween 2 had a $2.5 million budget and it grossed $25.5 million.
That's a lot of money.
Yes, that'd
in
be
case
nice.
you didn't know.
This was written by Deborah Hill and John Carpenter, and it was directed by Rick Rosenthal, who also directed Halloween Resurrection.
Nice.
And it was produced by Deb Hill and John Carpenter as well.
Yes, I know that it didn't gross as much as the first Halloween. The first Halloween was like 47 million, but that is still a success.
I would say so. I think at this point, Michael Myers was very popular.
Yeah.
Right? Like the first Halloween did so well that people were dying for another Halloween. And in fact, John Carpenter didn't really want to do another Halloween. He felt like the story had already been told and there wasn't really much more to it.
Right.
But I believe it was like the studio was like, no, we got to get another Michael movie out there.
Yeah. And I think especially after the third one, when a lot of people were pissed that Michael wasn't in it, I think that's probably when they were like, all right, we need to bring Michael back in the fourth one.
Yes, and I do love part 4 and part 5. Dr. Loomis just gets more and more unhinged as the series goes on, and I love it.
Yes, which is also interesting considering what happens at the end of this movie.
It's okay. He's resurrected. It's fine. It's fine. He's just got a couple burns on him. It's no big
Yeah, just
deal.
a couple scratches, no big deal.
Just a couple. Okay, can I tell you what the original plan for this movie was?
Yes.
Okay, so originally, the idea was that Michael was going to be stalking Lorie and tracking her to her new home in a high-rise apartment. And the idea was to have it take place a few years after the first film. But obviously the setting was then changed back to Haddonfield and it wasn't. But wouldn't that be so interesting if he was stalking her in an apartment building?
That is really interesting.
Like, how would you do that?
Yeah, I guess you just have to use the whole facility because
I'm just imagining him getting in the elevator.
Right.
Like,
which he almost does in this movie at one point.
Oh yeah, that's true. He
Yeah.
does. He knows how to work an elevator.
I mean, anywhere you place Michael, he's going to use the entire facility, and that's what he's going to do here in the hospital.
That
right?
is true. Yes. And he does not run. He is in a hurry, but you'll never catch that guy running for a bus, man.
No.
I won't run for a bus either, so I feel him.
And he'll still make it. That's the amazing thing.
He's got a strong power walk. He just glides. It's like a gazelle.
Well, it really helps too in this movie that Lorie is injured. So
Yes.
it does. I feel that they do a good job of making it make sense where, she's hobbling, she's crawling a lot. I also love in this movie how they have a lot of moments where they make it make sense why Michael would know where she is and why he would be drawn to a certain area because there are noises that happen.
100%. I love this movie.
Mhm.
Like, obviously the first Halloween is one of my favorite movies ever. I love it to death, but I love the second one too.
Yeah.
I love the vibe. There are certain things that happen in this movie where I'm just like, holy shit, and we'll get to them.
Yeah.
But it's like the music. I like his look in this one,
Mhm.
which I know the mask looks skinnier. I don't know if you noticed that. Like the mask doesn't look exactly like it does in part 1. So it is the same mask. However, Nick Castle, the actor who played Michael in the first one, had rolled the mask up and stuck it in his back pocket. And
Yeah.
it kind of deformed it a little bit and made
Yeah.
it a little bit skinny. So that's why Dick Warlock, who plays this version of Michael, the mask looks a little bit skinnier.
Right. I think they also just had different shaped heads. Is what I read. Which makes sense. A different person.
For sure.
And then I actually have more fun facts about that, but I'll save it for the end.
Oh, okay, fair.
I will tell you right now, though, that also, in addition to Nick Castle keeping it rolled up in his back pocket, Deborah Hill kept the mask
Yes.
under her bed.
And she smoked too.
She was a heavy smoker, so it also added yellowing to the mask. Have you ever seen that on walls?
Yes, dude.
My friend growing up, her grandpa smoked cigars every single day, and up in the corners of the walls, you could see it was yellow.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Because I don't know. I think it's the nicotine, right?
I don't know the science behind it, but
I
that
don't
makes
either.
sense.
I don't know why I said nicotine, but yeah.
Sure, we'll go with it. It's okay. That we're talking about the movie. We don't have to know facts about nicotine.
It's actually a smoking PSA podcast now.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to hear the IMDb description?
Oh yeah, shit.
Let's do it. While Dr. Loomis hunts for Michael Myers, a traumatized Lorie is rushed to Haddonfield Memorial Hospital, and the Shape is not far behind her.
The Shape. You know, I always forget that that's what he's called.
Yeah, he's the Shape.
Because in the end of part 1, and they are going to show this in a minute in the beginning of part 2, they call him the Boogeyman. So that's
Boogeyman,
that's what I think of. And I think that's another reason why it's very easy to enjoy this movie. Like you mentioned, you love part 1 so much. This is absolutely, I mean, obviously it's a part 2, it's a sequel, but it starts off right where the first one ends.
And I am a huge mark for that. I love when movies pick up right where the other one ends. We're at the same night. Should we just hop into the movie?
Yeah.
Let's just jump in.
Yes, because we are right back to Halloween in 1978.
Yes, we are. Oh, and we open with Mr. Sandman, and I fucking love that song.
Oh yeah, we open and close this movie with that same song.
It's a great song. Always gets stuck in my head.
Why is that a creepy song?
It is creepy. I don't know. I mean, Mr. Sandman is the lore of Mr. Sandman is scary. He comes and he like drops like sand in your eyes while you're trying to sleep. Could you imagine? You're just trying to go to bed, and all of a sudden, this like. I just imagine him with like long arms and legs and like a hat, and he like comes in and it's like, here.
It's like the Babadook.
Yeah, it's kind of how I picture him.
He's drugging you. He's forcing you to sleep. That is scary.
Well, I didn't think drugging, but now,
now
he's a real creep.
Yeah, he's a real creep. But the song itself, I think also they use it a lot in horror movies, and I just, now associate it with that.
Yeah, for sure. So yes, we open up on October 31st, 1978.
Yes.
And we're picking up right where the original movie ends. Lorie, it tells the kids that they need to go to the Mackenzies.
Mm-hmm.
She's exhausted because she's just fought with Michael. She thinks Michael could perhaps be dead. But we see in the background, he rises up Undertaker style.
Yep.
And obviously he's not dead, and he comes for her.
Mm-hmm.
Loomis shows up. Loomis shoots Michael. What I think is interesting here is in the original, Michael takes his mask off, and we see the actor. We see Michael without a mask. But in this, they trim it. So we don't see him without the mask. We just see him putting the mask back on.
Right.
And I thought that was an interesting choice.
Yeah, there's a moment where you see that Lorie is trying to rip it off of his face, and you kind of see his chin.
Yeah, but in the original, you see his full face.
Yeah.
So I was like, I thought that was weird. Not weird, but it was just an interesting choice. Maybe they just didn't want to be married to, maybe because it's a different actor.
That's a good point. That would make a lot of sense. Yeah.
I just noticed it on the rewatch.
Yeah, or maybe they were just like, we like the lore of not knowing what he looks like at all, so we're just gonna go with that.
Yeah.
I mean, they do that a lot in this franchise of we're gonna change that a little bit.
Well, I mean, listen, we're gonna be talking about Friday the 13th, I think, at some point during this loop. And my goodness, there are a lot of changes there.
Woo! Yeah. Also, forgive me if I accidentally call Michael Jason in this one because we're doing notes on both. I don't think I will. I think my notes are correct. I hope.
I really love them both, to be honest. Like, I'm a huge Jason gal,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a huge Michael.
Out of the two, I have to say I'm more team Jason.
You've said that before.
Yeah.
But
no offense, Michael.
But on this rewatch, are you starting to lean more into liking Michael or no?
I do. I like Michael. I don't dislike him. Okay. Don't think that I hate Michael. I know it sounds like from what I've said in the past that maybe I don't like Michael Myers, but I do. And actually, between the two movies that we cover this loop, I think I appreciate Michael a little more because I think I don't know. I was going to say he feels more logical, but then I'm thinking of other things that happen.
I don't know.
In
He
this
walks
movie.
right through that glass door, man. He doesn't even like think about it. He just like plows right through it.
Well, I also, he's been shot 6 times, as Dr. Loomis will remind us several times.
I was saying to AK last night, like, if we were playing a drinking game, you could take a shot every time Loomis says, 6 times! I shot him 6 times!
He is on 10 for like this whole movie. And granted, I mean, crazy shit is happening.
And I love Dr. Loomis.
Me too.
Okay. All right. So, any hoogly boos, we are being recapped, essentially.
Yes.
Yes.
And so Dr. Loomis shoots Michael. He falls off the balcony.
6 times.
Oh, I was like, he falls off the balcony 6 times.
He falls and he climbs back up. He's like, let me take that bump again. I could take a better bump.
He does take a big ass bump.
Takes a great bump.
And they kind of pan out to show it. So you see the big fall. And that is still a big fall, crash pad or not.
It honestly just makes me think of Mick Foley. Like, I can't help but not.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. And so Lorie says here to Loomis, it was the boogeyman. And he says, as a matter of fact, it was.
Yeah, dude, he really is the boogeyman.
And that is pretty much the end of part 1. Loomis goes and, looks off the balcony. Michael is gone,
Mm-hmm.
which is how 1 ends, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So now he's going outside. He sees that there's blood, but Michael's gone. He tells the neighbor, call the police and tell him I shot him. Like, he is going to let everyone know.
Oh, everyone's going to know that Michael is evil. He is not a human.
Yeah.
By the end of this.
I love the neighbor is like, is this a joke? I've been trick-or-treated to death. And that's exactly how he says it.
I know he does.
And Loomis is like, you don't know what death is. And then runs away. He's so dramatic.
He runs a lot in this movie. He kind of like beelines it out of like scenes quite often. In this
yes.
movie. I love it.
Also, I understand why he is highly emotional and,
he makes some like impulsive decisions though.
He really does. And also, he always has to drop some like profound saying in the midst of being, erratic.
Yeah, I love it.
Which is just so funny.
He's the best.
And so after this line, he drops, the credits roll,
Dude.
and that music starts.
Dude, okay, this is what I think it is about, honestly, the Halloween movies in general. And I'm actually currently working on, and this is for Patreon, but I'm working on a Halloween timeline.
I cannot wait.
I'm in the middle of making a PowerPoint presentation. But I love, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of, it's a rainy night, it's fall, maybe I just got off the road, I'm exhausted, I order a pizza, I crawl onto my couch, the rain is outside, my fucking twinkle lights are on in the living room, I've got a big fat pizza in front of me, and Halloween's on the TV.
That sounds like heaven.
Dude, is that not? Like, that is what Halloween, to me, that's every time I watch the movie, it feels like someone's giving me a warm hug.
And it's a stuffed crust pizza? Get out of here.
We really need to make a vegan stuffed crust. We've talked about it on the podcast multiple times.
I'm down. I'm
Dude,
down to make it.
So good.
So they do add synthesizers to this song. It goes so hard. So my fun fact about this is the soundtrack was made by John Carpenter, of course, and Alan Howarth. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And according to Alan, he says because John Carpenter was so busy with the pre-production for The Thing,
Ooh.
he left Halloween 2 pretty much up to him. So he chose to take the original and add the synthesizer organ is what it is.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think I like the Halloween music just as much as the Puppet Master music.
Ooh.
Like the Puppet Master music comes on and honestly, like I'm even thinking about it right now and I'm just like, ooh, like it's getting me hype. But the Halloween music, I was trying to figure out how to put it as my ringtone and I didn't realize how difficult it is to make a custom ringtone on your iPhone. Like I didn't realize that was that challenging and I'm determined by the end of the day to figure it out.
Do you remember back in the day you would just record something on like your voice memo on the radio and that would be you would do different ringtones for different people?
1,000,000% yes.
I mean, my phone is always on vibrate now, always.
I mean, mine is too, but if I had Halloween music as the ring, it would always be on.
Yeah.
I'd have that ringtone on at all times.
Or you could just set it for certain people.
Yes.
Then you know that person is calling.
I love it. Okay, sorry, we digress. So opening is amazing. We love it. Jack-o'-lantern. And as it zooms in, the jack-o'-lantern starts to open and we see a skull. And actually it's sitting on the table. I don't know if you can see it, but it's somewhere on the table there.
Oh, the little jack-o'-lantern skull. Yeah, with the action figure. If you're watching on YouTube, we have a whole setup right here of Michael Myers. I have my little baby Michael doll, I guess you would call him. You have a replica mask.
I have a replica mask that was gifted to me, and I have his license plate was also gifted to me.
I think that's so cool.
Dude, it's the best.
Yeah.
So sweet. Okay, so now we are in the POV of Michael. And also, I have to say, this whole... I was telling you last night we were rewatching it. I love this whole, like, scene. It's amazing. So we're in, like... We're outside. It's dark. Michael's got his mask on. We're in his POV. We hear him breathing behind the mask. And he's walking into, like, an alley.
Yeah.
We see trick-or-treaters. A dog's barking, right?
And
he approaches this house. And there's an old couple. Was it Mrs. and Mr.
Elrod. The Elrods.
Mr. Elrod is watching the news report that is reporting on the murders, and Mrs. Elrod is making him a sandwich with the world's largest butcher knife.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're cutting with that knife. Like, imagine like sticking that in the mayonnaise jar. That's a
I know.
huge-ass knife.
I would imagine she was cutting the sandwich in half, but we also don't see the sandwich yet, so I don't know.
Maybe it was like a big-ass sandwich. Yum.
Like a giant sub.
Yum. Yes.
I love a big old stack, Sammy.
Dude, I like a tomato sandwich.
Like when you have layers, like, yeah, tomatoes, lettuce, just I want to add everything to it.
Okay, let's not talk
I know,
about food
I know.
then.
It's too early.
Every single time we record, I'm like, oh, I need to eat. Okay. And Night of the Living Dead is playing on the TV.
Mhm.
And the reason Night of the Living Dead is in this movie or is in most movies is because it's not copywritten. So basically, it's in the free public domain.
Right.
So you can, that's why, I don't know if you've noticed, but there are quite a few horror movies that you'll see Night of the Living Dead is playing in the background or
Right.
on a TV. So
Mhm.
he's watching that. The news report pops up and she kind of is distracted by the news report and she walks into the doorway of the living room to catch it with her hubby.
Mhm.
What they don't know is Michael has walked into the house.
Yes, and you see him just in the background, which is so creepy.
There are a few shots in this where you see him in the background. It's so, because it's that thing of like, oh my God, this person doesn't know.
Yes.
But we know.
Yeah. I love that. Whenever there's something in the background, they don't really draw attention to it. You have to be paying attention. I love that shit.
Me too. And it's so creepy because you only see him for like a second.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't kill them, but he does take their knife.
Yes. He did come in with a purpose.
And honestly, I liked that he didn't kill them.
I know. I was like, don't kill the Elrods.
Well, they're so, obviously I don't want to see like, elderly people
Right.
abused or
Right.
killed. But I also think it wasn't necessary because like in the reboot, he kills them. And I
Oh.
don't think you necessarily needed it.
Yeah, because he's on a mission right now to find Lorie. He doesn't kill people unless they're in his way, and they really weren't in his way.
Right. And he just really needed that knife.
Yeah.
So Mrs. Elrod turns around and she goes back to her sandwich making, and then she notices that the knife is gone, and then she also notices there's like red stuff on the cutting board, and I don't know what possessed her to, but she touches it.
I think it's because when she's walking into the kitchen, she's walking backwards. And you know how like when you mindlessly, like you're staring at the TV, you go to grab something, she kind of does that. So she puts her hand in it.
It's so gross.
And she's like rubbing it around.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, girl, what are you doing?
Yeah, so she sees it, she screams.
With blood, by the way. I don't think I clarified that.
Yeah, it's Michael's blood, I assume. Or actually, it could be someone else's actually that's dripping off of Michael.
Yeah, definitely.
But yes, luckily they are spared. And now Michael is already on his way around town.
Yeah, he's cruising the neighborhood. And we see a teen. Her name is Alice. She comes out and she calls for the neighbors because the neighbors scream. Mr. and Mrs. Elrod scream.
Right.
And she's like, are you guys all right? And then she concludes that Mr. Elrond is probably angry and just started beating her.
Yeah, she's talking to someone on the phone,
Yeah,
which is
her
actually,
girlfriend.
it's the voice. The actress doing the voice is the same actress that was Annie.
Oh my God.
But I don't think it's supposed to be Annie because Annie would already be dead.
Yeah,
right?
Annie's dead, but great catch. I love that.
Yeah. But yeah, she's telling this person on the phone, like, yeah, I think he's just beating her. We're like, wait, what? I think I said to you last night, I was like, wait, what? Did she just say that?
Yes, dude. I rewinded it. I was like, hold on, what?
Just casually. And she says, like, Mrs. Elrod is always picking on her husband or something like that. I don't know.
Yes.
We're getting lore here, but
Yes.
meanwhile, Michael is walking into her house.
Oh, dude. And she's also telling her friend on the phone that her parents are out of town. She's basically alone. And then her friend tells her about the murders.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, wait, what? And I think she turns a radio on.
Yeah.
But at this point, Michael's already in the house.
Mhm.
Like he comes into the house and she hears a sound. And when she turns around, the door's open.
Do you think that he went in the house because he heard her say, oh, yeah, I'm all alone here for days?
So I was actually going to ask you, why do you think he went in and killed her?
I don't know.
Because she wasn't in his way.
Right.
And he really had no reason to go into the house.
Yeah. I wonder if it's, I don't know.
I
Now
feel like maybe somebody that is obsessed with Halloween would have unless he just has the urge to kill.
Yeah.
But
Maybe he wanted to try out his new knife.
maybe.
Maybe it's because, I mean, there was a part of me that thought they made her seem a little, kind of like a little asshole, based on what she was saying about the Elrods.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was just like getting rid of her because she's a quote unquote bad person, like they tend to do in horror movies, but I don't know.
I don't know if like maybe she was friends with Lorie. Was she one of Lorie's friends?
She could have been.
Well, anyway, he's in the house. She doesn't know he's in the house. And all of a sudden he pops up and the music kicks. Like it's this crazy sound
Mhm.
effect. He pops up and he just plunges a knife into her.
Yeah.
And it's so creepy because his face is right up against her.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get like a close up on both their faces.
Yeah,
Like cheek
yeah.
to cheek, man.
And like a blood spatter.
Ooh.
I wonder if it's because they were talking about the murders and that triggered him, or because she's listening to the news. Maybe in his mind, he's trying to get rid of anyone. That doesn't, I don't
But
know.
then he doesn't kill that kid later who's got the boombox.
Yeah, that's true. And he also doesn't kill the Elrods who are watching the news. So I actually don't know. I didn't get that deep into that character.
I'm curious. Somebody tell us if you know.
Yeah,
We'd
let
like
us
to
know.
Mm-hmm.
So then we cut to Lorie being stretchered out of her house, out of the house that she was in, into an ambulance. I don't know why I just said it like that.
An
Ambulance.
ambulance. Can I say her wig it's a bit rough here.
Yes.
It's a little rough skis, man.
Jamie Lee Curtis was wearing a wig throughout this movie because she had cut her hair really, really short in real life.
Uh-huh.
And yeah.
I think in some scenes the wig's fine. But when the lighting, when it's not strong lighting, like when she's in the hospital, there's a few scenes in the hospital where it really doesn't look bad.
Yeah.
It's when it's like a little too lit, then you can see that it's a wig.
Yeah, I think wigs have come a long way
For sure.
since 1981.
Yep.
And so Lorie had been stabbed at some point in part 1 by Michael, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she is being stretchered out. We meet the 2 EMTs. We meet Bud, who is driving.
Bud.
And we meet Jimmy, who's in the back with Lorie.
Jimmy's so sweet. And he knows who Lorie is.
Yeah, because Bud's like, hey, you ever seen this chick?
Yeah.
Like, why are you saying it like that?
No, for
First of all,
real.
she's conscious. Like, why do you have to say it like that?
Yeah.
And as the ambulance pulls up to the hospital, we see a mother bringing her kid into the hospital with a busted mouth or like a tooth or something, but he's bleeding from the mouth.
So, well, he has a razor blade stuck in his mouth because
Okay.
he bit into an apple with a razor blade in it.
Okay.
Which is, an urban legend
right.
that, I don't know.
Check your candy because
Check your candy. Yeah. So I did some deep diving on it and I couldn't find confirmation that it was actually connected to Halloween 3, like as a means to sort of open the door,
Mhm.
as like see other terrible things happen on Halloween in Haddonfield. This is like an evil place.
Right.
Because that is an urban legend. We've all heard about the razor blade in the apple or razor blade in the candy bars or
Right.
whatever. And even in Trick or Treat, there was the guy that was doing that. And we do see this little boy a couple of times with his mother. We see him at the hospital and then we see them leaving the hospital, but then
Yeah.
it doesn't really go anywhere.
Right.
So I don't know if maybe John Carpenter just wanted to inject some Halloween urban legend lore.
That's what it feels like to me.
Or maybe he was thinking to himself, like, if we do another one, it's going to be in it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Someone might know.
Yeah. I couldn't find confirmation either.
Same. And I don't want to say, yeah, because like, I don't know what the sources are. Like the stuff that I read, I was like, this doesn't sound concrete to me.
Right.
So,
But it is interesting to think about because we only see him a couple times and it doesn't serve a purpose in the plot.
yeah. So
Mhm.
I was like, okay, well, maybe they're just trying to demonstrate that
Yeah.
evil shit, crazy shit does happen in
Yeah.
Haddonfield. I don't know.
So in the hospital, we see a doctor and some nurses that are attending to Lorie, which you pointed out to me. The doctor is fucking hammered.
Oh, he's drunk. He's drunk. And Lori's like catatonic, right? She's like in shock. And we meet Dr. Mixter,
Mm-hmm.
who just came from the country club and he's probably drunk. And
Yeah.
one of the nurses, like he says to one of the nurses, I need some coffee. Get me some coffee.
Yeah.
Because he needs to sober up.
Right.
And as he's saying this, he's grabbing a needle the size of my head. Okay. And he's sticking it into Lorie, who's begging them not to put her to sleep.
Yes, they want to put her out, which also doesn't make sense because what does she need? Like stitches? And she's not hysterical.
I just chalked it up to this man is drunk.
That makes sense because he fucks up the injection.
Yeah.
So when he injects her, the blood comes back into the needle, which is not supposed to happen, or into the syringe. And that means you hit a blood vessel.
And it probably popped. Ooh, that's happened to me.
Ooh. So that's normally not harmful, but you are supposed to then remove the needle and make a new one.
Right.
You're not supposed to inject that because in rare situations that could cause complications if you inject a blood vessel.
Whoa.
Did I ever tell you that I was a certified phlebotomist?
No.
Really?
I have the tiniest wee veins ever, and they can never get them.
Let me
to,
see
like,
your
move.
veins. I want to see if I can find them.
They're
No,
real
just
tiny.
kidding.
They're super tiny and skinny, and they always move around, and then they end up blowing them.
Oh,
It's
that's
awful.
Okay. Especially now, whenever I do have to get blood drawn, I mean, when I was a phlebotomist, first of all, I was never a phlebotomist. I don't know why I just said that. I was a certified phlebotomist. I never actually did it for a profession, but I was considering it right before I became a professional wrestler.
Whoa.
So that makes sense why I would have never told you. I don't know. It just never came up. It was like a 6-week course, I think, that I did with my friend. She was a CNA, a certified nursing assistant. When we both worked at KFC. Do you remember our KFC days?
Oh, I absolutely remember when you worked there. Yeah.
I was probably like 19 years old and I was
Fuck,
like,
I've known you
okay.
a long time. Holy
Yeah.
shit. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I'll do this class with you. I don't know, maybe I'll go do this and make more money than we're making here. And she was doing it because she was already in the medical field. And yeah, I don't know. We learned how to draw blood.
Wow, dude.
So now whenever I do get my blood drawn, I'm watching them like, don't fuck this up.
I weirdly like getting my blood taken.
You
I don't know.
like it?
Yeah, I don't know. There's something about it. I think it's because you know what it is? I used to faint all the time. Anytime I saw blood, I would faint. And I was so afraid of getting my blood drawn because they always miss. And they have to
Oh,
poke me 1,000 times.
yeah.
So to get over it, I started to tell myself that I actually liked it. And now when I go to get blood drawn, I like it. Like I'm into it. I want to see it go in. Like I like stare at it and shit.
I want to see it go in. Don't clip that.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, but it's because I convinced myself that I liked it, even though I was afraid of it.
You actually like reverse psychologied yourself.
No, for real. Because when I found out that you could like open up new brain pathways in your brain and stuff, like
Yeah.
I was like, oh well, I'm gonna manipulate myself, and I did
Wow, for the better.
for the better.
You know what? Yeah, you can. You can actually do it in a good way. I don't enjoy it, but I also am not afraid of needles.
No, me
And
neither.
I don't know. I just usually don't look because I don't know. Sometimes I do, but I'm afraid that they're gonna do something that's gonna like I don't know. I'm afraid that they're gonna fuck it up. So I'd rather not watch.
Oh, I get you. Yeah, I have a really great phlebotomist that I go to. She's bomb.
Oh, nice.
She gets it every time now. Thank
Hell
God.
yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
okay, we digress.
Yes.
What else is new?
Okay, so now we cut to Loomis, who
Yes.
is driving with a sheriff.
Sheriff Brackett.
Yes, and he is telling him, well, the sheriff is telling Loomis, you couldn't have shot him 6 times.
We hear about this 6 times over and over again.
Yeah, and it's only been like the first, what, like 15, 10 minutes of the movie, maybe?
Yeah, the sheriff seems very irritated by Loomis.
Yeah.
I feel like you need a certain type of energy
Oh.
to like vibe with Loomis. I feel like the cop later, he's chill with
Yeah,
Loomis.
yeah. And so Loomis thinks that he sees Michael and he demands that the sheriff stops the car. He gets out. He is ready to shoot. And of
Dude.
course, the sheriff is coming like, no, you can't just shoot this person.
Dude, this scene is fucking crazy.
Please take it over.
Loomis draws his gun on this kid who's wearing a Michael Myers mask, to be fair.
Yeah.
But he looks like a kid. That does not look like Michael.
Yeah, the mask had like blondish hair. It wasn't even like the
Yes, and like his stature.
Mhm.
Like he looked like a kid to me.
Yeah.
So he pulls this gun out. The kid is like, "What the fuck?" Like he turns and looks. A car comes and just plows into this kid and then drives the body into a van, and the van explodes.
And then the body is just engulfed in flames. Like it
Charred.
went from 0 to 100
Fucking
real quick.
charred.
Yeah. Also, I think the kid was carrying a trick or treat bag, if I'm not mistaken. He was carrying
Yes.
something. And he's also
Yes.
not walking like Michael.
That's what I'm saying.
But Loomis is, he is like, it's on site for him. He's literally.
know. That's why he needs a handler. Like he needs like a buddy to be like, hey, wait. Let's hold
Yeah.
on a second.
Yeah.
Let's not jump the gun.
Yeah.
Literally.
Now, if you're watching this for the first time, you might think, oh, that's Michael. But I mean, you should also know that because we're only like 10 minutes into the movie. That's probably
It
not
ain't
Michael.
him. It ain't him. So and then so we see like the kid is on fire, and we just see like the mask is engulfed.
Yes. Also, it's, I think, a sheriff or a deputy that hits the kid.
Yeah.
And the deputy that hits him is played by Dick Warlock, who is playing Michael in this movie. So yes, he was basically playing double duty in that that
that's
scene.
Dude, that's so cool. I love that. I believe the kid with the boombox later on is Dick Warlock's kid.
Yes, both of his sons are in this movie.
Yeah, and the
Mhm.
only reason I know that is because we covered another movie that his son is in, and I can't remember what movie it is.
Now I can't either. But one of them.
One of them. I can't remember off the top of my head, but when I deep dived on that, I saw that was his son.
Yeah. And so now we cut to a lot of different locations in this
Mhm.
movie. So we cut back to Lori's room in the hospital, and Jimmy, the EMT, is sneaking into the room to talk to her.
Yeah, he like checks in on her.
Yeah, he definitely has a little crush on her.
Mhm.
And so one of the nurses comes in. This might be Nurse Alves, but I know a nurse comes in and tells Lorie, it is Nurse Alves, that she cracked a bone in either her foot or her ankle.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And then Nurse Alves kicks Jimmy out.
Yeah, and it's really cute. He like offers to get her a Coke.
Mm-hmm.
It's very sweet. And I want to say that some of the staff are watching the news. Like some of the nurses are watching the news.
Yeah, the news is on like throughout this
The
entire
whole movie.
opening
Yeah.
scene.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we cut to news reporters in front of the Wallace house where they're carrying out 3 bodies. That's what the news has been saying. There are 3 victims. It's Linda, Bob, and Annie after being killed in the first movie by Michael.
It's so sad. So the sheriff is Annie's dad.
Yes.
And he has to go to the house.
Mm-hmm.
And as they're wheeling out Annie on the stretcher with the sheet over it, he pulls the sheet back. It actually like breaks my heart.
Yeah.
His reaction to it, it's just so gut-wrenching.
Yeah. And of course, he's like, this is your fault, Loomis. You shouldn't have let Michael out. And he abandons this search. So now he's leaving Loomis with Deputy Gary Hunt.
And Hunt is the one that like, he like vibes with Loomis.
Yeah.
Like he's pretty, like they seem like a pretty good tag team.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a fun fact about this scene.
Tell me.
Dana Carvey is in this scene.
Dude, when you told me that last night, I was like squeeze me?
I saw him credited in this movie, and I was like, wait, what? And I had to go back and find it. You would never know just by watching it.
No, I had no idea until you told me.
So he is credited as assistant, and he's basically the camera crew in this scene. When they show up at the house, there's a blonde news reporter he's talking to, and it's like the side of his face.
Dude, that is so, imagine you were just an extra in one of these movies.
No, for real.
I would ride that wave for the rest of my life.
No, for real.
I was in Halloween 2.
He's like, forget anything else I've ever done. I was in Halloween 2.
Dude, I would tell every single person without them even having to ask me. Hi, I'm Laura. I was in Halloween 2.
No, for real. He's also seen for a moment in the end of the movie as well.
Oh, okay,
So
cool.
that's
I love
fun.
That. Hell yeah.
So now, yeah, Sheriff Brackett leaves. We have Loomis and Deputy Hunt that are going to be, or Gary. I'm just going to call him Gary.
Yeah, call him Gary. That sounds good.
We're on a first name basis.
Yeah, we like Gary. Gary's a cool dude.
And so Loomis is telling Gary the whole lore, okay?
Yes.
And he's telling him the man that was killed by that car was not Michael. It was just someone in the costume, because I even asked Laura off air. I was like, wait, why is he wearing Michael's, like, how is he wearing a Michael Myers costume? It's because in the first one, that's how Michael gets this costume. He just walks into a Halloween store, right?
He does, yes.
And just gets this random costume. So this is obviously a mass-produced thing.
Absolutely. And also, there's not confirmation that it's Michael yet.
Right.
He's basically saying if it isn't him, he's out there and he's definitely going to kill more people.
Yeah, and he wants to operate under the assumption that that wasn't Michael.
Exactly, which is wild.
I know. I'm like, okay.
He also goes on to say that like Michael's not human, and that he was his doctor for 15 years and that he doesn't have a conscience, and that Loomis basically wants to go and see this burned body and confirm that it's not Michael.
Yeah, they're going to go to the coroner's office.
Yeah, exactly.
So now we cut to Karen, who is a nurse at this hospital. She's not at work yet. Her and her friend Darcy are just getting into the car. She promises to drop Darcy off somewhere.
Yeah, this was like a weird conversation because she was like, all right, well, are you going to drop me off? And the girl was like, no, I'm late. And she's like, it's only going to take an extra like 5 minutes or something. And the girl, like they were arguing, like this girl was going to leave her friend.
I know.
After those murders happened, just on the street at night.
Yeah, so I think that's Karen that was going to leave Darcy.
Yeah, I
and
thought
Darcy,
that was weird.
It is a little weird. I don't think the scene was needed, but Karen does end up late for work and she will get in trouble for it. But I mean, she could have just... They didn't really need to explain why she was late, I guess.
They just made her sound like such an asshole.
I know, because Darcy's like, you promised. And Karen's like, I did. And they get in the car like, you were just going to make her walk?
You were going to leave your friend? I would never leave you.
I would never leave you.
Ever.
And Uber doesn't even exist at this point.
No,
so
you'd be walking, man.
Yeah.
With Michael lurking around.
So that was an interesting choice.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting for sure. We also see a kid walking down the street with the boombox.
Yeah, so that's one of Dick Warlock's sons.
It's so cool. So he's got this little boombox and it's playing the news report. We're hearing the news report a lot throughout this movie, but it's playing the news report and he bumps right into Michael.
Mm-hmm.
And the news report just happens to be saying that Laurie Strode is at the Haddonfield Memorial Hospital.
Which is wild. I understand this was the early 80s, but I'm like, you're just giving out the victim's name. I don't know if they did say her name, to be fair. They might have just said survivor. Yeah. But giving out her location and everything, which I guess why would that be an issue? No, because you know that there's a murder. Like, I don't know. It's just...
And also, I feel like they do an interesting job in this movie of making reporters out to be like vultures.
Yeah.
Especially at the end.
Yes.
Especially at the end. So I wonder if maybe they were leaning into that a little bit here, just how like careless the news can be with people's private information. But when this happens, the Halloween music kicks in.
Oh yeah,
It's awesome.
loud.
It's loud. It's awesome. And
Yeah.
Michael's like, all right, I guess I'm going to the hospital.
And then he starts walking down the street right where a sign is like Haddonfield Memorial this way.
This way, let me just point an arrow.
There is a really cool shot of him in Karen's side view mirror after she gets to the hospital.
Dude, I love it.
Yeah, she's walking in and he's just standing there and you just see his face in the mirror.
Oh, it's so cool. Like in her little side mirror.
Mhm.
Oh, it's awesome. Love it.
So Karen gets to the break room where Bud, Jimmy, and another girl, I didn't catch her name, were watching the news. And this,
Janet. This is Janet.
oh, that is Janet.
Mhm.
Okay. Janet is very offended that Bud keeps swearing.
Yes, and also he's just talking about pizza. And the second he did, my mouth started watering. I went,
Yeah.
Bud, why you gotta do that? I'm trying to not eat pizza all the time, okay?
Yeah.
Why you gotta bring it up?
I know. It was kind of funny too because she's like, all you ever say is like shit, damn, blah, 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 whatever. And he's like, sorry, I just keep fucking up. And I did think that was kind of funny, even though she is not finding it funny at all.
She doesn't find it funny.
No.
I swear so much. And I sometimes forget that like it's not really appropriate.
I forget that people actually get offended by it.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it. I think it's because I like grew up in locker rooms. Same with you too, right? Like when you're in locker rooms, especially when you're younger, I think you just sort of adopt that.
Especially in the wrestling world.
The wrestling world.
Everything is like fucking and then you go to
And then fuck this, fuck yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
always. I do hate when they're in an argument with you and maybe swearing is involved. Not that you're swearing at them, but if you say like, I don't know what this fucking guy's doing, and they cling to the fact that you swore.
Dude, you're gonna get me heated
I'm sorry.
right now.
Okay.
Dude, I had oh my God, it's happened so many times. They're like, don't swear at me. And
You're
I'm like,
making a good point, and they're like, oh, well, you don't have to use profanity.
or they go like this. They go like, why are you swearing at me?
And you're
Dude,
not even swearing at them.
I'm not, if I was swearing at you, you would know.
Right.
I'm not swearing at you. I'm describing something and using a swear word as a filler word.
Yes. Whenever anyone tries to divert from the great point you just made and they cling on to the littlest thing and they're like, well,
It's because they don't have an argument.
oh my gosh, it's like the fucking mayor in Jaws where he's like, well, you don't have the tooth.
it's so gaslighty. It's like, shut the
fuck up. Now I'm swearing at you. Anyway,
Right.
one more thing I want to say about Bud
Yeah.
is that he is a little creep too. Like he's a little gross.
Little bit? Ew.
Karen and Bud have some type of relationship.
Yeah.
regardless of what it is. Something's going
I
on there.
think they just hook up.
Sure. That's the vibe I get.
Like I feel like they hook up, but I feel like she doesn't tell anyone.
Oh yes, 100%. Because she goes into the break room and she kind of flirts with him a little bit and then leaves. And once she leaves, Bud starts singing "Amazing Grace, Come Sit on My Face." And I was like, I'm writing that quote down.
Oh my God.
But yes, now we do see that Karen is getting scolded for being late from Mrs.
Mhm.
Alves, which is like the head nurse, I'm assuming.
Yes.
And it looks like, I don't know what this is called, and I should have looked it up, but I forgot. I wrote, it looks like she works in the baby department.
Oh, like the infants.
Like the infant ward.
Yeah, the infant ward. Yeah, for sure. No, for sure. And just something like really quick.
Yeah.
When Janet is like disgusted by Bud, she's talking about how another girl at the hospital, I want to say it's Julie. I think she says Julie saw him
Mhm.
in a field behind the shopping bag.
Mhm.
And Bud is like, well, Julie's an idiot or something
Yeah.
like that. And it was just like an interesting conversation amongst colleagues.
Yeah.
But I was wondering, like, if there's like Michael, like lore, or if like, did Julie actually see him? Because he escaped from the mental institution, that night or the night before?
Mhm.
So I don't know. I just thought that was interesting that
Yeah.
she said that Julie had seen him. So is it like hearsay or did Julie actually see him?
Right. Yeah, that is interesting.
I don't know.
We do, in the scene where Karen is getting scolded, we do see Michael casually walk through the hallway. That's another one. We see him in the background.
Dude, it's so creepy. And this is where the security guard sees him on the monitor, right? Like the security is not,
Mm.
well, he doesn't see him. He's not paying attention.
Right.
Like every other security guard in a horror movie.
Right.
What's the dude from Puppet Master 2 where he just completely like, was it? No, Demonic Toys.
But he was watching
But
Puppet
he's
Master
watching
too.
Puppet Master
Yeah.
2, yeah. Mhm. Also, when Bud makes that remark about sitting on your face or whatever, he also tells Jimmy that, or Jimmy doesn't like Bud's like bullshit, basically.
Yeah.
But Bud tells him not to get involved with a patient because he notices that Jimmy likes Lorie. He's like, don't get involved with a patient, but you can fuck nurses.
Yes.
It's basically
Yeah.
what he says.
He
I was
does.
like, ew, you dog.
Yeah.
Like, Anyway, I'm sorry.
And then later we do see Jimmy back in Lori's room. Once again, he's talking to her, and Mrs. I want to say Alves every time because that's how it's spelled, but it's Mrs. Alves comes in to kick him out again. She's
Yeah.
like, visiting hours are over, Jimmy.
Yeah. And Jimmy, obviously, I think he might have a little crush on Lorie.
Yeah. And Mrs. Alves tells Lorie they can't get a hold of her parents.
Right.
And then once the nurse leaves, Lorie tries to use the phone and it's dead.
Right. And to answer your question, Jimmy is telling Lorie that Michael Myers was the one that went after her.
Right. Okay.
Because at this point, Lorie doesn't know. It doesn't know the connection between the boogeyman, the shape, and Michael. She doesn't really know.
Okay.
And so when he explains it to her, she's like, the Myers house. Because remember, her dad was a real estate agent and had the house. Like, he was the realtor on the house. And remember, she had to drop off like a key or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So it's starting to get tied together here.
Right. So now we see that the security guard, who is Mr. Garrett,
Oh, yeah, Mr. Garrett. Uh-huh.
like from South Park, hands Janet, who is the other nurse, his walkie-talkie, and he's like, I'll be back in a minute. And Janet's like, I don't even know how to use this.
To be fair, like, she does tell him. She's like, dude, what is this? Like,
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, yeah, he's like, figure it out. And he leaves. It's like a walkie-talkie, right?
I mean, I would imagine a walkie-talkie, you just press the button.
But there's different channels on walkie-talkies?
There are different channels, yeah.
I wouldn't know how to use that.
I'd be like, look, as long as this is preset and I only have to push the button to talk, okay.
Honestly, I would love walkie-talkies. I would love to live next door to you and have walkie-talkies.
That would be fun. How far do they go? Can they go from Detroit to Buffalo?
No, but I feel like they could go from, do you remember Voxer?
Yes.
I used to love Voxer.
Oh my gosh.
Is that what it was called?
It was either Vox or Voxer.
I loved it.
It had to be Voxer.
It was so fun.
Oh, that just reminded me. I used to get Voxers from Daphne all the
I
time.
was just going to say the same thing.
She loved a voice note. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. But then iPhones had voice notes too.
Dude, I'm a voice noter. You know it.
Oh.
I love sending you podcasts.
I love you and Marty Bell both will send me long voice memos and be like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, no, do not apologize. I will listen to your voice memos like a podcast.
I am guilty of voice memoing Penelope at like right before I go to bed at night. And I just telling her like the weirdest shit that's on my brain.
Yeah.
And then just being like, hey, good night.
Good night.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hear your response until tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, Mr. Garrett gives Janet the walkie-talkie. He goes to inspect outside and he's looking through a dumpster at one
Oh, yeah,
point.
we get the cat scare here.
Yeah, the cat jumps out and jumps on him, a little jump scare.
He like stumbles and falls back into garbage. I'd be so pissed.
Yeah. This is a kind of long scene where he's going through very slowly, opening doors, opening closets, things like that, and a couple jump scares that don't lead to anything yet. He goes into a storage room and looks around. So he's actually in a building at this point, and it's just like the storeroom, I think is what he calls it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's calling back to Janet on the walkie-talkie, and he's telling her someone broke into the storage room.
And Janet can't hear him. Like, it's like staticky.
Yeah.
And that's where I think that it made sense for her to be like, I don't know how to use this. Because when he does try to contact her, she's like, she's like pressing all the buttons and turning the dials, which like he handed it to you and it was set to what it needed to be. Why are you turning all the knobs now?
Exactly. I was like, it can't be this complicated to use it. But I think it is also just a really good excuse for her to not be able to communicate with him.
For sure.
And so now Mr. Garrett notices a door and he thinks someone might be behind it. So he goes to unlock it and a bunch of junk just falls on him.
Yeah.
But then when he closes the door, Michael is right behind it and he sinks the back of a hammer into his head. It is so nasty.
Dude, it's a great kill.
This be the craziest kill. This might be my favorite kill of this movie because it was the nastiest to me.
Really? Mine is the nurse.
Oh, that's gross too.
Mine is when he lifts the nurse off the ground with the scalpel and her shoes fall off.
Oh yeah, it's the shoes falling off for me.
No, same.
But I think for this, it's because they show the impact. A lot of times it's off kill. Like we mentioned earlier with Alice, they show the knife, they show her face and a blood splatter, but we don't see
like it going in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And with this, they show the back of Mr. Garrett's head, which is a full prosthetic. So they just hammer the back of that thing right into it. And it makes like a thud. I hate it.
You know, dude, it's gross. All right. So Mr. Garrett is dead.
Yeah.
And Janet just gives up on the walkie-talkie.
Yeah. She's like, I don't know. He'll figure it out.
Yeah. She's like, whatever.
And now we cut back to Loomis at the coroner's office.
Yes.
And he is looking at this charred body with the deputy and the coroner, I assume.
Yes.
They can't confirm the identity because it is completely charred.
That is one charred, barbecued body.
Yeah. And when I say can't confirm the identity, I mean with their eyes.
Yeah, and basically the coroner says this kid's teeth, they can identify at least that he's between the ages of 17 and 21.
And then Michael says, not Michael, Loomis says Michael was 21 years old. And that blew my mind. Why do I picture him being like 40? Is it because the newer ones he is like 40, I guess?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know why. It totally makes sense. He was only a few years older than Lorie.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I am picturing like a grown ass man, which
I know,
to
I'm
me,
picturing like 35 at the very least.
like a 21-year-old. I mean, that is an adult, but
his frontal lobe's not fully developed, so he's got that impulse, like lack of impulse control and stuff.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
I don't know. 21. I was like, oh, he's a baby.
He's still young. Yeah, he is. No, for real. But yeah, in the reboots, yeah, he's obviously quite old.
Yeah.
Older, at least.
So Loomis says we must assume Michael is still alive because they can't confirm that is or isn't Michael.
Exactly. Yep. And so Officer Hunt tells another officer that they need all hands on deck looking for Michael. So I like that Hunt is actually taking this seriously.
Yeah.
He's like, no, we need to find him.
Yeah. He's like, all right, I'll buy into your crazy shit, Loomis.
Yeah. There's not that thing of like, oh, it probably,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I hate the trope in movies where like cops or like detectives and stuff like don't believe.
Oh, we're about to cover a movie where there is just someone who is like, no, I won't hear it the whole movie.
Yes, dude, yes.
But yeah, he totally believes Loomis. Also, I don't think he has another suspect in mind. So why not see this one through?
Okay, so now we cut to the Michael Myers' like residence, like the Myers house, and the townspeople have like formed kind of like a mob.
Oh, straight up angry mob.
45 Lampkin Lane is his address. And they're throwing rocks. They're vandalizing the house. People are pissed, man. People are pissed.
Yeah. And Loomis is telling Deputy Hunt that in many ways, Michael was the ideal patient. He didn't talk. He didn't cry. He didn't even move. You got to watch out for the quiet ones. Let me tell you. And he's telling Deputy Hunt the lore of Michael, basically, murdering his older sister, which happens in the first one.
Right.
And in that very house, however many years ago.
Okay, one thing I have to say that I thought was like so hilarious is like they're talking about how like nothing bad ever happens in Haddonfield. It's like a really safe neighborhood, and that's when they're talking about obviously Michael and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But Officer Hunt says the only gunshots you ever heard in Haddonfield were to start the track meet at the local high school.
At the local high school.
I was dying. Like, can you?
Who would say that if they're from that town?
But also, were they shooting a gun in the air in the 80s for people to start the track meets?
I don't know.
That's what I was like losing it over.
They might be, but didn't they have a special gun though? I don't think it's an actual bullet. I mean, it could be if they didn't have one, but I thought there was a special little gun they did.
I have no idea. But that line specifically, I was like, shooting off a gun to start the track meet? What?
Yeah, I didn't do track, and also I wasn't alive at this time, but I'm curious now.
I could see it in the 70s. I could see them just being like, all right, boys.
I mean, they weren't far off from the 70s in this one.
Yeah.
But I think also to me, it's the local high school for me because I'm assuming there's only one high school in this small town.
For sure.
Who would say the local high school?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. There's only one town there's only one school in Haddonfield for sure. I can't imagine growing up in like a town with only one high school.
I think technically mine did. No, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know where the borders are.
I grew up in the city, so there was like thank God, because I needed to get into a high school and none of them would take me. So
we know your story from what was it? Sleepaway Camp?
Might have been.
I think so. Yeah, I love it. So some kids come up to Loomis. So one of these is Warlock's other son.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so two kids come up to him and they tell Loomis and Deputy Hunt that they can't find their friend, Ben Tramer, who left a party really drunk, and he happened to be wearing a mask.
Yes.
So Loomis is putting two and two together and figure Ben, who is a 17-year-old, may have been that victim who was hit by the car, and suggests that they go match his dental records.
Yes. So basically Loomis killed a child.
Basically, and also Ben Tramer is mentioned in the first Halloween. So this is who Lorie tells Annie that she has a crush on. That's who was killed.
Whoa,
is
dude.
Lorie's crush,
You just blew my mind.
Lorie's crush got crushed. How tragic is that?
That is actually so sad.
I'm sorry. I feel
Not
like I
the
just made you sad
crush.
when I said
I
that.
know. I'm like, not her crush.
No. It's okay. It's a fictional person.
Okay. Also, Loomis in his like rant says it's been 15 years and Michael's come back.
He is so dramatic.
I love it though. Imagine like sitting around a fire and hearing his stories.
Oh, I would love to listen to him talk.
Amazing.
Maybe
So
not
good.
about how he shot Michael 6 times. Like at least change it up.
Yeah,
But
we need a new story, dude.
yeah.
So another cop runs over and he tells them that there's been a break-in at the elementary school and they're
Mhm.
pretty sure that it was Michael.
Yeah. Now we cut back to the hospital and Karen is going to check on one of the beds. And when she does, someone jumps out and grabs her and pulls them on top of her. And it's Bud. He's playing a prank on her, which obviously she's pissed.
Okay, in my note I read, I'm sorry, but Bud ain't it, man.
Bud, this ain't it. When you know that there's a murderer on the loose, can you please not jump scare me? I've told people before, like, please do not jump scare me. Imagine someone jump scared you and you accidentally do something that like results in their death.
Oh,
This is how crazy.
oh
I know that's
boy.
very extreme.
I thought you were gonna say like you punched them.
That's what I'm saying though. Like imagine like you get scared, you punch them, they fall down the stairs and die. And then now that's on you.
It just makes me think of Matt and Chelsea because they love pranking each other.
Just don't do it at the top of any stairs.
Yeah, no. Oh no, honestly, like I don't hate I think it's kind of fun,
It depends.
but it depends who's doing it.
It depends on what they're doing too.
Yeah, agreed.
Like
I will say I don't like pranks. Like jumping out is one thing,
Yeah.
but like I don't know. Have you ever seen those like TikTok?
that aren't really fucking pranks.
I can't stand it, dude.
I
It's
can't
so
stand-
weird.
Whenever YouTube culture, whenever it became really popular in YouTube culture to make these like, oh, I'm gonna prank this person by doing something really fucking mean or like something that actually ruins their day.
I hate
I'm like,
it.
this is not a prank. You're just an asshole.
Agreed.
Oh my gosh. A prank is like, I saw a YouTube video where it's so silly because somebody's walking through a park and then they had like a fake race set up. So they like set up a finish line and all these people are racing next to them and the people are just confused. That's funny. I mean, maybe it's not the funniest prank, but it's still funny.
And it's harmless. It doesn't
It's
hurt
harmless.
anyone.
Yes,
Yeah.
it needs to be harmless.
Yeah.
And like when people go up and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to like touch this guy's girlfriend, like touch her hand and see what he does and like see their reaction." That's not a prank. You're going to get your ass beat or worse.
There's like one on TikTok where I saw this guy. He like he goes up to couples, he goes up behind them and he grabs the guy and he puts the arm around the girl.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works out where the girl's like, "Oh."
Yeah.
And then other ones are like, "What are you doing?"
Oh, and you're like, "Oh, you're like exposing weird things in their relationship."
Yeah, which I
like
think is just weird. Like, don't touch me.
I also think a lot of those are not real.
100%. I think most things on the internet aren't real.
They're staged.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, if you're going to do a prank, make it funny and make it harmless.
Agreed.
So, that was what I was going to say is like, do not prank me and make me think I'm like, there's an intruder in my house. That's
Okay,
not
yeah.
fucking funny.
No, that's not funny. I agree.
Okay.
Okay.
So going back to the movie,
Uh-huh.
Karen is pissed, but she's like, Bud, that kind of thing. So clearly they're in some type of relationship. And he's trying to convince her to go down to, what was it, the 3rd floor or whatever it is.
Yeah, the physical therapy like space.
Yes.
Whatever.
Which, what did I say? I was like, this is where they would torture people in an asylum.
Oh yeah, because we were talking about Nurse Ratchet.
Yeah. Or American Horror Story, the asylum season where they
Yeah.
would like force people to go into these hot ass baths.
Yeah,
And,
and
like,
like strap him in.
Oh,
Yeah, no thanks.
but she's like, I can't leave the kids right now. And of course he's annoyed at this.
Well, when she says the kids, is she talking about the infants?
Yeah. She's in the child department or whatever I said earlier. So
But
she's
isn't
watching.
That's crazy.
I don't think it's like the NICU. I don't think it's
but that's
that.
what it seems like.
It could be.
It's all the newborns.
I just thought it was newborns, but NICU is like intensive care.
But still, the fact that she's leaving the newborns to go
Yeah.
fuck Bud.
Yeah. And she goes, well, maybe if I leave the door open. Girl, this is basically a hot
No.
tub. You're not going to hear any babies over this.
Dude, yeah, you shouldn't do that, man. What are you
No,
doing? What are you doing, girl? Over Bud?
And he's definitely trying to coerce her, which is really annoying.
Mm.
But it works.
I mean, they definitely are hooking up. Like, I
Oh,
think
yeah.
they're, I don't know, seeing each other or something.
Yeah, definitely in some way.
I just put terrible nurse.
Yeah, don't leave the babies.
Yeah.
And so we cut to Lorie, who is dreaming about her mother, telling her that she's not her mother.
Yes.
She also sees blood dripping, and then
Yeah,
she
and the
sees
blood is like dripping onto black.
Yeah,
That's creepy.
and she sees a young Michael, which I believe this is him in an Institution. That's the word I'm
Yeah,
looking for.
for sure. He like he's sitting in a chair out staring out the window and he turns and looks at her.
Which I feel like we mentioned this to each other when we were rewatching together, that they did a really great casting job.
He's got those like dead eyes.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, the look on his face, I was like, oh, that's definitely Michael.
Yeah, I agree. It was good casting for sure.
And so now we cut back to Bud and Karen. They're in this physical therapy room in the hydrotherapy pool. So
And here-
basically like a giant tub.
Like a big, like kind of hot tub, right?
Yeah.
That helps with like when somebody is like going through an injury or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Karen gets naked.
Oh yeah, we see boobies. And we also see some man butt in this scene.
Mm-hmm. We do. Bud is looking at her like she's food.
Ew.
That's what I wrote in my notes.
I mean,
Like,
she's hot.
She is hot.
But
Bud's kind of gross.
we just know that Bud is just like, yeah.
Bud's just Bud.
Yeah, Bud's just Bud. What are you gonna do?
Just Bud being Bud.
And that is what a Bud would do. And Karen is like, it's really hot in here. Like, no, it's like hotter than normal. And we do see a hand off in the other room turning the knob, making the temperature super high.
Dude, do you fuck with hot tubs?
I do. I do. Yeah, I love hot tubs. I love a hot bath. I love
But like
Epsom salt.
a public hot tub?
I feel differently about those, but I mean, if it's like at a hotel, those kind of gross me out a little bit because I just think of like all the people that are in
I just think
those.
of all the dead skin cells.
Yeah, you don't know if they're really cleaning it. When it's like a hot tub on a property, I feel
Different.
differently.
Like if we got an Airbnb, remember we
Yeah.
were talking about going to Tennessee?
Yeah.
When we go to Tennessee and we have a cabin, we should get an outdoor hot tub.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
That would be bomb.
That's very
Oh,
common.
Rosemary's in, by the way.
Yes.
I talked to her about it.
We need to schedule
We need
this.
a demon. We need
Right.
the demon.
We need a demon.
We need a demon.
A specific demon.
Rosemary is the one.
Yes, I love that.
Okay.
But yeah, I love an Epsom salt bath. I love them.
I'm not a bath person at all.
Maybe it's because, especially after like hard training and your muscles are sore and the Epsom salt relaxes you and it relieves that pain. I think maybe that's what I associate it with.
Yeah.
So I like that.
I don't know what it is about baths. I just can't. I can't do it.
I have to take a shower after them.
Yeah, well,
I
that's
don't-
for sure.
Yeah, I don't bathe in them. I'm using them to like soak my muscles.
Yeah. And you are jacked.
I just flexed. I just
love
flexed
it.
on
You're
YouTube.
jacked.
I'm not, but thanks.
You are.
Okay. We see a hand turning the temperature super high.
Yeah, he cranks that shit, man.
Yeah, and Karen's like, no, for real. Like this is too much. And then Bud's like, all right, I'll go turn it down or whatever. Bud goes into the other room. I love this scene. We see Karen drying off because the knob is in a separate room, which
Yeah.
I guess is because it would be like the medical staff that's doing it while the patients are whatever.
Yeah.
We see Bud getting strangled by Michael in the background. And because it's a separate room, there's no sound.
And it's like kind of like it's a little bit blurry because the glass is like not full. It's like frosted glass.
Yeah, and it makes it comical to me.
It is. It's funny.
Yeah, and
It's like slapstick a little bit.
yeah, but then the shot of Michael just staring into the room through that glass door at Karen is so creepy.
Oh, dude, any shot of Michael in the background looking at someone that doesn't know that they're being watched.
Yes.
Just that alone, they really lean into him being like a stalker, I feel like.
Mhm.
Because in the first one, he's very stalking.
Yeah.
Like he stalks Lorie.
Oh, always.
And this one is the same thing. Whereas in part 4 and part 5, yes, he's still like stalking, but it's different.
One thing I will say about part 2 is I'm really glad they did not bring back him driving a car.
Oh my God. Him driving car in the first one is so funny to me.
They really, really made better choices in this one,
Like-
in terms of that.
Like him following the rules of the road to me is just so hilarious.
Like imagine he's like, oh, gotta make sure I'm doing the speed limit.
Yeah, or he's like, you know what? You go ahead. You got the right of way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Oh my
I just gotta
gosh.
make this quick turn.
Yeah.
Let me just back. He backs up. You know, he puts his hand up. Okay. You know, he puts his hand on the.
You know he backs into a parking spot.
I told AK yesterday. We gotta talk about this in the extended.
Yeah.
But I was telling AK yesterday. One of the things I think is so hot. Oh my God, so stupid. When a guy like is driving a car and he puts his hand on the passenger seat to like back into a spot and he does it with like one hand on the wheel. I don't know what it is, dude, but I am all about it.
Michael definitely does that. And he's tall.
Oh, there are some boxes being checked. Okay. Anyways, moving on.
But yes, we see Michael staring at her through that door. It is terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, you can't hear anything, and Bud's just dead.
Yeah, Bud's gone.
So he comes into the room. Karen's back is to that door, so she doesn't see him walking in. And he puts his hand on her shoulder. And she's like, forget it, bud. I have to go back to work. Want to go to breakfast later? She's just talking to him. And then she starts kissing on his hand, like his fingers.
Dude, she's like, so she can't see him. So his hand is like over her shoulder
Yeah.
and she's like giving little kisses. And she's like, I'm sorry, bud, but I just have to. And when she says that she has to go, he pulls his hand away from her.
Mhm.
So it's almost as if like Bud's being like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
It's so unsettling, dude.
Ooh, imagine you think you're kissing someone and it's not that person. That's
Oh.
so violating.
Also, he's been killing so many people and he's got crusty ass fingers. Like,
you know he's not washing his hands in
No,
between kills.
dude, there's no way. He's got like dry, crusty blood and sweat and dirt on his fingers and you're kissing them. Oh my God.
Ew. Wouldn't you notice? Like, wait a minute.
Like, this tastes a little salty. What's going on here?
Bud, why are you so like, why do you taste like iron?
But what were you doing while you were making the fucking temperature colder?
So she finally turns around, sees Michael, screams. He grabs her head and keeps dunking her into this now scalding water. I love that the temperature gauge, by the way, says scalding. Scalding, just
Set
so
it
you
to
know.
scalding.
Yeah, like that's what makes me think they're torturing people in this thing.
No,
Why
for
would you
sure.
need that setting?
No, for sure. Hold on a second. I didn't realize what you were just saying.
You just realized what I was saying? Like, no, for real. Like, hey, just in case you want to set it to scalding on this patient. Like, what? You don't need that ever.
Okay, also, can I say, like, one thing I love too is when Michael's about to kill you, like the music goes crazy.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good.
It adds to the intensity.
Massive.
And so every time because also he's not just shoving her underwater. Did you hit the mic?
I hit the mic, yeah, sorry.
He's not just shoving her under the water. He's like making her bob for apples.
Yeah, that is exactly what he's doing. She is bobbing, and every time she comes up, she's got more and more burns on her face. By the end of it, her face looks like it's melting off.
Yeah,
dude.
like peeling.
Yeah. Oh, gross.
Yeah. So we cut to the elementary school that Michael went to because, they were alerted that there was a break-in. And so Loomis is like, okay, he goes back to his childhood home and whatever. And I think he's just trying to find Michael.
Yes, exactly. And so they go into this classroom, and there's a drawing on the table or the desk of like a family, and there's a knife just sticking right into one of the stick figures.
Yeah.
Like a big old butcher knife.
Yeah. I'm like, why would you leave your knife? But
Oh, he's resourceful. He's got hot tubs. He's good. He doesn't need the knife.
And then also, I don't know if you remember, so Loomis goes to the board and Samhain is written on the board. He says Sam Hain, which I'm going to talk about in a second.
Okay.
But that was written in blood, right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
It
I
looked
was
like blood.
There's no way he wrote that in chalk. He's like, there's just dust flying everywhere.
I think it is. I think it's like Michael doing anything like normal, like a normal person would, is just so funny.
Yes.
Like picturing him like with the mask on, and like he can't really see the chalkboard very well, so he lifts the mask, like he rolls it up his face, and he's
Yeah.
just like, okay, wait a second, hold
Yeah.
that doesn't look like an S, and he like grabs
Yeah.
the thing and wipes it off.
Erasing it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But yes, it's phonetically spelled Sam Hain if you're reading it in English. And that's how Loomis pronounces it in the movie. This is pronounced Samhain.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's Irish and Scottish Gaelic origin.
Okay.
And
does it actually mean the Lord of the Dead?
Well, according to Irish mythology, Samhain was a time when the doorways to the other world opened,
Okay.
allowing supernatural beings and the souls of the dead to come into our world.
Is it real? I wish it was real.
I mean, according to Irish mythology, yes. So some people believe in it.
Cool.
And so basically, Loomis is discovering clues that are connecting Michael to Samhain, which he's also connecting to the occult.
to
which,
druids and shit.
Yeah, which could explain why he's so indestructible, maybe.
Well, yeah, and that plays into part 6. They talk about the druids in
Yeah.
part 6. Yeah.
And so while this is all happening, we see former nurse, Marion.
Marion.
Yeah, she shows up and she wants to speak to Loomis.
Yep. So basically, she tells him that the governor is requesting that he goes back to Smith Grove, which is a sanitarium that Michael was staying at. And that I would assume this is like the head of the hospital, Dr. Rogers, is afraid that the mental health department at the sanitarium, I assume, is going to get involved and fuck up the rehabilitation program. So essentially, my guess is they're rehabilitating individuals that are having like mental health issues or things like that, and they're
Yeah.
afraid that Michael getting out and killing all these people is going to derail the rehabilitation program.
Yeah. And so they're sending a US Marshal to bring Loomis in. So these are orders from the governor.
Yes, because Loomis is like, I ain't going with you, and she's
Yeah.
like, well, you have to.
Yeah. And when this was happening, I turned to Laura and I was like, wait, what the fuck is going on? Like,
Yeah.
to me, this was so, I don't want to say far fetched, but I found it so interesting that they chose to go this route.
I think it's interesting because they explain, it helps explain a little bit how Michael's impacting the town.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
And how it's a ripple effect. It's like a domino effect.
Yeah, I wonder if it was also a way to bring back Marion. She was in the first one.
Yeah.
And she's also in H2O.
She is. She's his nurse.
Which we did cover.
Yep, we did. Oh, I love that one. You know I do. Minus the masks.
Yeah, the masks are much better in this one.
I freaking love H2O though. I will die on that hill. I love it. I think it's great.
Go listen to that episode.
Please.
So back at the hospital
After you
now.
listen to this one, because it's like a trilogy, right? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, we're
Anyway.
just doing them in a random order because, we do what we feel like.
That's right.
So now back at the hospital, Lorie is catatonic. Her eyes are open, or at least she seems catatonic.
Yeah, because like Jimmy's like looking at her. He's like talking to her and she's not reacting. Her eyes are just open and she's staring forward.
Yeah, I think they're using the light in her eyes, things like that. She's not responding to anything. So Janet goes to find Dr. Mixter, that drunk doctor from earlier.
Yeah.
And she goes into his office and his back is turned. And
Dude, he has like a shower connected to his office.
he probably has to live there.
I guess
Or he's probably
so.
there all the time.
Maybe that's why he's hammered.
I wonder if that's common for doctors because they do have to be very clean.
They have maybe.
Yeah. But whenever you walk into a room and someone's back is turned and they're not responding to you,
They're gonna be like missing eyeballs or something, man.
there's going to be a spin and a reveal.
Oh yeah. Like in H2O with the hockey skate.
Yes. And that is exactly what happens here. She turns him around and he has a syringe in his eye. It is very, very dark in there.
Mm-hmm.
And they show Janet, who is, of course, horrified. And all you see is Michael's face appear behind her in the shadows.
It's so scary, dude.
It is so scary. He takes a long ass syringe.
And he also does the fucking head tilt. Hello. I love it. That's why I do it as the bunny. Okay?
Tilt.
The little head tilt. I actually I didn't steal it. It's a homage. For those of you who don't know, when I was wrestling as the bunny, I would head tilt.
Yeah.
And it was a homage to both Michael and Jason.
I was going to say it was Jason too, right?
They both do a head tilt.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me feel some sort of way.
I
I'm
love
like,
it.
head tilt at me, Michael. Just don't kill me, okay?
Okay. And so he takes a syringe and he drives it into her temple. It looks so gross.
Yeah, dude. And it's like, and he like injects like the air into her head, right?
Oh yeah, I don't know what was in there. I don't know if there was a liquid or not.
Because isn't that a thing? Like if you inject a needle with just air, it'll like, I don't know, create bubbles in your bloodstream and kill you.
It could kill you, yeah.
Ooh, I don't know if that's actually what happens, but dude, scary.
Yeah, I don't know exactly the science behind it, but I know it's bad. I know very bad.
Very, very bad. So, also I need to point out that the hospital is dead. Like this overnight staff is very thin.
It really feels like all that's in there patient-wise is Lorie and the babies.
No, I know. There are no other doctors. There are no other nurses.
Mhm.
Also, I said this to you yesterday, but I have to mention this on the podcast.
Yeah.
I really feel for nurses that had to wear those little caps and dresses to work.
Tiny, tight dresses. And then not even a hat. You have to pin it into your head.
Dude, got bobby pins stick. You know that you'd have a wicked headache after that.
I was just going to say, when the bobby pins are like stabbing you in the head?
Dude, the
No.
worst. I
No.
just feel for nurses back then that had to
Yeah.
like wear that getup, man.
What you have to do and you're uncomfortable?
That's what I'm saying. Like
Nah.
it's so fucking weird.
Yeah, I'm glad they don't have to do that anymore.
The hats especially. The fuck?
And so now Michael walks into Lorie's room and he starts stabbing into the bed.
Dude.
But Lorie is not there.
Mhm.
She did the old trick of shoving some pillows under her blankets to make it look like there's a body in there.
Like when I'm sneaking out from my
Did
when I
you
was
ever
in high
do that?
school. I never had to.
I was gonna say
My mom was cool as shit. Like she
Yeah.
really, she knew I was doing stuff. She knew I wasn't stupid.
Yeah, I never did that. I never did the pillows under blankets. One of my siblings might have, but I can't remember.
Yeah. No, I never needed to. Although I will say, can I tell you, like at some point, I can't remember when this was, maybe like 10 years ago, there was something going on in the highways in Toronto. And so the only thing people could like get anywhere was on the HOV lanes, but you can only be in the HOV if you have two or more passengers. And people were putting blow up dolls in the passenger seats to
That's
get
so
away with the
funny.
HOV lane. Isn't that funny?
That is really funny. I assume that didn't work very long,
No,
or at least people were getting pulled
I
over
think people are
sometimes.
getting pulled over. Yeah.
How awkward. Do you like quickly deflate it? You just stab it.
And
You're like,
you're just like,
oh, I didn't have anyone in
I
here.
thought this was a real person.
Yeah, right. And so Lorie is walking. Now she's like roaming down the halls.
Oh
But
yeah, and like the Lorie music starts playing.
the Lorie music.
Yeah, it's like specific like to her.
Oh, I didn't even catch
I
that.
love it, dude.
And so remember, she's injured. And so I'm assuming that she's just faking being catatonic so that people would go away from her and she could sneak out.
I
'Cause
think that's what we were talking about.
Yeah, because she seems, I mean, right away when she goes to the hospital, she doesn't want to be put under because she knows that Michael is still on the loose.
She wants to be like alert to
Right.
And now that she's found out who it is,
Yeah.
too, right?
She knows, she feels that he is coming back for her, so she wants to get out of there. So
And the phone lines are cut. Like these are some pretty serious things that are happening.
yeah,
That are tipping her off.
yes. She eventually gets to a room. She tries to use the phone again. That one isn't working either. She does end up passing out. So she's not, healthy.
I mean, yeah, and also like she has been drugged. So
Yeah.
even if she, knew that she needed to get out of there, she's still on pain meds. She's still like
Injured.
She's injured.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's doing the best that she can. She's kind of like hobbling and crawling and
Yeah.
yeah.
And now
Oh,
we meet,
and then she curls up into like a little ball.
oh yeah.
Ugh.
And so now we meet Nurse Jill. She's the one with the short blonde hair.
Mm.
And she's looking for Mr. Garrett, the security guard. And eventually she gets a little jump scare by Jimmy when he pops up, who is also looking for everyone. Like, where did everyone go? There's no doctor. There's no nurses. And Michael is lingering behind a curtain in one of the rooms, like right behind them. You just see his shadow.
Dude.
So creepy.
Yeah.
Now, Jimmy finds the body of Mrs. Alves, who we didn't see anything happen to her, but she's strapped to a gurney and she's laid out with a tube. I'm guessing like an empty IV hooked to her arm, and it's draining all of the blood out of her,
Dude.
which is terrifying.
The puddle of blood on the floor. Okay, first of all,
Ugh.
it looks like paint to me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say that. Okay, I know the effects are good in this movie. It's
Yeah.
just this specific scene to me, it looks like paint.
It's very vibrant.
It reminded me of Alice in Wonderland when they're painting the roses.
Yeah.
But Jimmy is like, whoa, he's kind of looking at it. He's like, what the fuck? And then he turns to leave and he takes a huge bump on the ground.
Oh my gosh. Huge bump. Definitely knocks his head.
Oh, dude. It's like a like if there was a wet spot on the ground and there was no like caution sign and you're just walking and you just take a huge slip bump.
It looks like he slipped on a banana peel.
Yeah, banana peel. Yeah,
Yeah.
that describes it way better than what I just said.
No, that makes sense too.
I'm like, and then there's a sign and you don't see the sign. Like, girl, what are you talking about?
I will say Jimmy is a good EMT. He did try to check her pulse, so that's great.
I
right?
like Jimmy.
Me
Jimmy's
too.
like a real one, man.
He is a real one.
Yeah.
And so now the nurse Jill is trying to leave. She's trying to go find help, and her car won't start.
Dude.
She also notices that all the tires in the parking lot have been slit.
Dude, man, that's so scary.
Though she does escape, she runs back inside.
Yeah.
And so now we cut back to Lorie. She's walking up and down the halls, but she's all hazy.
Okay, can I also say, like, similar to what we were talking about with Jason, like, Michael, like, fucked up all the cars, slashed all the tires, is very leisurely walking around the hospital. Like, there isn't even pep in his step. Like, he is taking his time. He
Mhm.
is able to do a lot of things going at a snail's pace.
Yes.
Like, he really can.
Yeah.
He gets a lot done.
I do wonder real time how long it took him to slash all those tires and like cut the phone lines.
Like, do you think he runs ever?
No.
Yeah.
No, he either runs or drives a car. I mean, walks or drives a car. But now Lori's all hazy, so her vision is kind of blurred. And the nurse, Jill, that is now back in the hospital, sees Lorie and she's calling for her when Michael comes up behind Jill with a scalpel, stabs her in the back, and lifts her off the ground. This is what you were talking about earlier.
Dude, I love this kill. He lifts her off the ground and her fucking shoes fall off, dude.
Yeah, it seems like once she dies, like her body relaxes and her shoes fall off. It's so creepy.
It's so creepy. And Lori's watching this through hazy eyes and she's just staring.
Yeah, she's not even fully coherent. She's probably like, am I hallucinating? Like, the
Dude,
fuck?
it's so scary. And the fucking music kicks in. Oh, I love it.
Mhm.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
And even though she's injured and not fully coherent, she starts hobbling through the hospital. She's throwing obstacles in Michael's way. The music is so intense.
It's awesome. It makes you feel the tension.
Yep. And Michael's just taking a casual stroll.
He runs for no one.
Yes. But like I mentioned earlier, I think they do a good job drawing his attention and showing why he would know where she is, because she is getting ahead of him and she is hiding. So like she goes to hide in the dark and she bumps into the body of Mr. Garrett, who is now hanging
By
and,
like a light bulb.
yeah, and she screams because she just bumped into a dead body. And so obviously Michael heard that and now he goes in that direction.
Yep.
She does end up escaping
Yeah,
because
she like climbs through like a supply window.
yeah. Like she's still in a building, but
She's still in the building, but she gets through a window and now she's in another part of the
building.
yeah, I really would love to see the actual layout of this hospital.
Right. It was a little confusing, but I think she was in the storeroom because that's where the Mr. Garrett got killed. So maybe that's where he was, his body.
Yes, exactly. And so she gets out through this, window and we can hear Michael like walking towards her, like stepping on broken glass.
Mm-hmm.
And she runs to an elevator, but the elevator is on the second floor and she's in the basement. So she's like pressing the button and you can just hear Michael like walking towards her. Oh, it's so creepy. And then finally the elevator door opens. She gets in. He is like coming closer, closer, closer. The door is closing. He sticks his hand in with a scalpel. And you think for a second that door is going to open wide up. And instead he pulls his hand and it closes.
Yeah. Thank goodness for 80s elevators that did not just reopen when someone puts their hand in it.
Dude.
She narrowly escapes.
Dude. And she looks so scared.
Yeah.
Because you're just a sitting duck.
Yeah.
So scary.
And even then, like I was going to say, what do you do? Like kick his hand? You can't. She's not wearing shoes.
I mean,
and he has a scalpel.
No, he would get her. Like, yeah. So she does manage to, the elevator door closes, the elevator door on the opposite side opens, and she runs outside and she's trying like car doors. She climbs into a car, she crouches down, she's hiding, and she's peering through the window, like looking for Michael, but we don't see him yet. Right?
Yep.
Meanwhile, Loomis, Marshall, and Marion are heading to town, right? They're heading to, I would assume, like the sanitarium, or they're driving somewhere, right? Miriam here is apologizing to Loomis, obviously, like she doesn't like the situation. Loomis tells her she should feel sorry. She shouldn't feel sorry to him. She should feel sorry for the townspeople because they're the ones that are gonna like suffer from this.
Yeah.
And she's trying to divulge some information to him but he cuts her off in the middle and he starts explaining Michael's lore again.
And has to drop some profound ass lines in the meantime.
Yes, exactly. And he tells her, he's explaining to her about the druids, okay? I wrote this down.
Please.
Right. He tells her in order to appease the gods, okay? Because he's talking about, how did you pronounce it on the chalkboard?
Samhain.
Samhain. He's explaining Samhain to her, right? And to the marshal. He says, in order to appease the gods, the druid priests held fire rituals. Prisoners of war, criminals, the insane, animals were burned alive in baskets. The marshal is looking at him through the rearview mirror, and he seems very uncomfortable or scared. Like, he actually seems interested in what Loomis is saying, right?
Yeah.
But he says, he goes on to say, by burning them alive, the druids believe that they could see omens of the future. 2,000 years later, we've come no further. He calls it Samhain, isn't the evil spirit. It isn't goblins and ghosts or witches. It's the unconscious mind. We're all afraid of the dark inside of ourselves.
That line, that is what I wrote down. I was like, okay, Loomis.
Marion looks so uninterested. Like, she looks like she's like, okay, I get it. You want to lay out all this shit to me, but like, I need to tell you something that's actually important.
She's legit like, okay, cool. Now can you please listen to me?
Yes, exactly. So basically she tells him that there's a file on Michael that nobody knows about. And Loomis is like, oh, I've read all the files. I know them all. You don't have new information.
He does.
And she's like, no, even you haven't seen this file. And she tells him that the governor ordered Dr. Rogers to open the file. And this is very confusing to Loomis because Loomis thought that he knew it all about Michael. He thought he had all the information because he's been his doctor for 15 years. Big ass reveal here. Lorie is Michael's sister.
Yes, and Lorie had been adopted.
to keep the family and her safe.
Mhm.
And this was all sealed, so nobody knew about it until right now.
Yeah. And Loomis is like, so he killed his older sister, 15 years ago, and now he's gonna kill his younger sister. Turn this car
We
around.
gotta go.
And the marshal's like, no, I have orders from the governor.
Dude.
Loomis puts a gun to his head. Can I just say this US Marshal is like the most chill person ever in a horror movie and just in general.
I think he's a very level-headed person.
He has seen some shit because he did not give a fuck about having that gun to his head.
No, for real. Like, I feel like he'd be good in a crisis situation.
Oh, absolutely. And which a US Marshal should, right? He said
he's qualified for his job?
Yeah,
Like,
what?
what?
He just goes, Doctor, you're getting yourself into a lot of trouble. After Loomis points the gun to his temple, and Loomis says, I don't even know what he says here, but he says something about, what do you do, a warning shot? And then fires
Dude.
the gun
Dude.
in the car.
It knocks the windshield. He shoots it through the windshield.
Yeah, and then the car swerves.
Dude.
And
crazy.
so I was like,
and then it's so fucking nuts. And then they peel off towards the hospital.
yeah, Loomis is on 11. I don't even know. Like, he is just. So then we cut to Lorie finding Jimmy in a car. So she had been searching through that parking lot. She finds Jimmy. Jimmy's not okay, but
he is like dazed.
He's alive, but he definitely has head trauma, probably a concussion.
Yes, and he does try to tell her that like he's gonna get them out of here.
Yeah, he's breathing hard. He looks a little incoherent, dazed, and he falls forward onto the horn.
Oh, dude, when the horn starts blaring,
it gives you so much anxiety because you're like, Michael is hearing this once again. He is now drawn to you and where you are. And so she pulls his head back and his head is hanging backwards. Like
he's knocked out completely.
His neck, it creeps me out. It looks like his neck is almost broken. I don't think that's what they were going for here. He's just passed out.
Yeah.
But it just looked so gross to me how he was just backwards like that. And so Lorie sees Loomis pull up. She falls out of this car.
When she hits the pavement, she hits it hard, dude.
Yeah. And she's trying to scream, but she can't.
She can't scream, man. That's one of my fears is when like
someone's right there.
Yeah, and you're trying. Remember I told you it was like another episode when like hope is right there and you can't. It reminds me of Scream.
Yes, her parents being right there.
Yes,
or like
dude.
Trick or Treat when she's in the alleyway and the people are right there, but they can't hear her.
It always freaks me out.
Or I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Dude.
That always gets me.
Yep.
And so she tries to scream, but she can't. The U.S. Marshal once again does not give a fuck. Loomis is telling him like, well, I would handcuff you here, but I might need you in there. And then I think he asked him like, are you going to be a help to us or whatever? And the U.S. Marshal's like, what have I got to lose but my job? Like, just
He's
calm.
so calm. Yeah, no, for sure. They go into the hospital and then she finally lets like a scream out.
Like now she can scream.
But they don't hear her.
But Michael probably hears.
Oh my God. And she like collapses on the floor and she's like crawling. Oh, I just feel so bad for her, man.
Yeah, it's horrible.
So Loomis and Marion are like looking around the hospital. Lorie gets to her feet and she hobbles back to the hospital, but Michael pops up behind her. And he's walking towards her a little bit quicker this time. He is starting to move a little faster here.
Yeah.
Right? And he's taking larger steps, let's say that.
Yeah.
So Lorie gets to the door and she is like pounding on the hospital door, right? Michael is getting closer and closer and closer until finally Loomis unlocks the door. She goes in. He turns it, locks it. Michael doesn't even stop for a second. He just walks right through the glass door, dude.
Just casual as fuck.
The music is off the chains.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Loomis pulls out a gun. He starts shooting Michael again.
Several times.
Over and over and over and over until he finally falls. He falls onto his knees and then he hits the floor.
This is another one of those moments where I think they made better choices in this movie. Like, instead of Michael opening the door, because he could have, right?
Yeah.
He just walks right through the glass.
It's so scary because he is like, what is it? Like a shark that smells blood.
Yeah.
Like he is just...
Or just like a robot. Like there's no stopping him.
He is coming for Lorie. He is going to walk through this glass door. He's not even going to shrug it off.
Yeah.
He just walks right through. He's collapsed on the ground. He's still holding the scalpel though.
Yeah.
He's still got that scalpel in his hand. And the marshal like goes over and Loomis is like, dude, you like get away from him. He's still breathing. And the marshal's kind of like disregarding him. And he's like, dude, he is still breathing. Like, you need to back up.
Yeah.
And then Loomis tells Marion to go to the car and like call for backup.
Yeah, with the radio.
With the radio, yes.
So the marshal is getting closer to Michael here, and Loomis is yelling for him to get away again. Like, I know what I'm talking about. And the marshal's like, oh, he's not breathing, which of course prompts Michael to grab him, flip him over, and then cut his throat with that scalpel.
Dude, he slits it, man. It's just like, whatever.
Yeah.
The marshal should have been listening to him.
You said, whatever.
Whatever, man. Like, you know what? You should have listened to your friend, Dr. Loomis.
Is why I thought that whole part about them being summoned by the governor. I think what you said made sense why they did that. But if they just wanted to add Marion or just wanted to have an extra body there, like a cop, they could have done it with another deputy. But I do think what you said made sense about the severity of the situation with Michael.
No, for sure. And I also just need to say, like, him when he sits up and slits his throat, it's terrifying, dude.
Oh yeah,
like it is really, really scary.
Yeah.
And so Loomis and Lorie take off.
Loomis is trying to give Lorie the marshal's gun now.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, no. I'd be like, okay, is it ready to fire or do I got to push some other buttons?
Is there a safety? What's happening?
Let's
here?
go.
I'll just give it to me. So they're running and they're hiding, blah, blah, blah. He's on their tail. It's creepy as fuck. They get to like a surgical room. The doors have windows though. So they can see Michael. Michael can see them. So Michael actually does know where they're going, but they hide. They kind of go into this room, and then there's a separate room, which is like where they do the operations.
Yeah.
And so they go in, and as this is happening, Marion has called for backup. She's like, "Get your ass over here! He's here!"
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, she literally says that. Get your ass here. I think I said to you, I was like, they're probably like, oh, because she's like, he's here. They're probably like, what?
Yeah, but it's supposed to be all hands on deck, so they should know exactly what she's talking about.
Well, I just assume because I don't think she's just calling. I actually don't know. I assume she wasn't just calling to the police.
Yeah.
I thought she was calling to whoever the U.S. Marshal would report to.
Oh.
So because that's his car and his radio, I don't know. But that was just my thought of like, she's calling like the governor. He's here. Well, I guess the governor would know, right?
The governor would know, yeah. Well,
I don't know.
Anyway, okay.
Either way.
So now Loomis and Lorie are in the surgery room. That's what it looks like to me anyways.
Yeah.
He hands her the gun. She doesn't want to take it, so he places it at her feet, right? Michael now is banging on the door.
Yeah.
Like, he eventually breaks right through it.
Yeah.
He is... what is it? An unmovable object or an unmovable force or whatever the expression is?
Immovable. I think it's immovable.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Something like that. You guys get it. You understand. So Loomis is kind of like standing and he's like ready to shoot. When Michael breaks through the door, Loomis tries to shoot, but the gun won't fire. And Michael stabs him with the scalpel in the stomach or like the torso.
I hate that. Which also, I mean, you've been shooting him and it hasn't been working. But yeah, what else are you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, at that point.
Right. And Michael starts approaching Lorie slowly because Loomis is now slumped over.
Dude.
Starts approaching Lorie slowly. The music is once again so intense here. It's such a vibe.
Dude, this scene is everything to me.
Yeah. Lorie yells for him to stop.
She says, Michael.
Yeah.
She specifically calls him Michael.
Yeah, she knows now.
And he stops for a second. He registers it for a second, but then he starts coming again.
Yep.
And she doesn't want to, but she shoots him in each eyeball.
Shoots him twice.
In the eyeballs.
And it looks like he's crying blood out of the mask. That does look so cool.
Dude, that's my figure down there. My figure has got the mask with the tears,
Oh,
the blood
yeah.
tears coming down.
It does look so fucking cool. Though there is a part of me that's like, okay, you're afraid to shoot. You probably have never shot before and you do 2 perfect shots in his eyes, which is crazy. He was kind of close, but for this shot, I'll accept it.
She is related to Michael Myers though, so maybe she just has it in her to be able to like.
But he doesn't shoot a gun.
No, but he does kill people. So maybe she has the instinct. She's like, you know what? I know where your eyes are. Boom.
It's in my blood. He was fairly close to her, but still, like that's not an easy thing to do.
No, I don't know how to shoot a gun.
But crying blood out of that mask, fucking badass.
Dude, it was awesome. Okay, so now he's blind because he's been shot in the eyes.
Yeah.
So he's kind of covering his eyes with one hand. He's got a scalpel in the other, and he's just whipping his arm around, and you can hear like the swooshing sounds of him trying to like slice her.
Yeah, he's swiping at her.
Dude, it's so scary because nothing will stop him from trying to kill her. Like, now
Yeah.
he's been shot 6 times. Then he was
Yeah.
shot again a whole bunch. He walked through the glass door, shot in the eyeballs.
Yeah.
He is like, it
Which
doesn't matter what happens to me. I am going to kill her. I am going down swinging, literally.
Yeah, which if you're shot in the eyes, I would assume you're also shot in the brain, and it has not stopped him.
Dude, I love this part of the movie. Like, I don't know what it is. It gets me like so fucking hype. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, I love
I'm
it.
now thinking about A Christmas Story where they do say you'll shoot your eye out, so maybe you can get shot in the eye and
But
not get
that's
shot
with
in
a
the
BB
brain.
gun, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a BB gun. That's a
This
little
is like
different.
a legit revolver.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of gun it is, but for sure, it's like a gun. It
Dude.
ain't no BB gun.
Well, we know he's evil, right? Like, he's not
Yeah.
human. Loomis
Yeah.
has established that already. He's not human.
Yeah, and so Loomis, who isn't dead yet, he starts opening up the valves to a bunch of the different tanks, like the oxygen tanks that are in that room. And he tells Lorie to get out, so she escapes. And he looks at Michael.
But wait.
Oh, go ahead.
Not only does she escape, she helps him out. She sees what he's doing, and then she starts turning the gas tanks on.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of gas tanks that are like, it's probably like oxygen, maybe like the stuff that helps you sleep that you put the mask on, nitrogen oxide or whatever.
Mhm.
It's a bunch of gas. But yeah, she escapes.
She escapes. Loomis lights that lighter.
And he says, "It's time, Michael."
And the room explodes.
Dude.
Explosion, fire. Lorie is cornered or cowered. I shouldn't say coward, but she's hunched over in like front of the door where that room is.
Yeah, like down the hall a little bit.
Yeah. And she's obviously very upset. And then behind her, we see Michael walk out of this fucking room fully on fire.
Dude.
Like his whole body.
Engulfed, man.
He does eventually collapse. He falls to his knees and falls down.
Yes. And we get like a close up of his like engulfed mask.
Yeah. And so now it is the morning. Lorie's being taken into the ambulance. We see those vulture ass reporters that are all up in her face with the cameras.
They're literally like, and now she is placing one foot out of the whatever and she's climbing. And it's so invasive.
Like, I get that that's your job, but like
a play-by-play of her climbing out of the wheelchair and going into the ambulance.
When it just happened. She has, So she's getting driven away.
Oh, there's 10 bodies apparently.
10 bodies total.
10 bodies.
Mr. Sandman starts playing again, and we end the movie on Michael's mask on fire.
And we're driving into the fog, which I didn't know if it was like a little nod to John Carpenter because he directed The Fog.
And she's in it.
Right. So I wondered if maybe that was a little nod. Maybe not.
Oh.
But I don't know.
I don't know. That could have been. I did not catch that. That's cool.
And that is the end.
That is the end of Halloween 2.
Dude, I love this movie top to bottom. It is definitely up there as one of my all-time favorites. I love a Halloween 1-2 H2O movie night. Great little trilogy.
Yeah.
I personally, I love H2O.
Yeah.
And I like the story of Lorie being Michael's sister. I mean, I do love like a monster just going after someone for no reason. I think that's what makes the first one so scary. But I like that. I like the story they tell here with her being his sister.
Yeah, me too. I do think it's interesting because I believe in some interviews, John Carpenter mentions that he wasn't really sold on that storyline of him being the sibling.
No, he wasn't. I mean, he didn't want to do another one at all.
Yeah.
He was not into it. But obviously it ended up being great.
Yeah, he also thought, I mean, a lot of people thought, I think that were involved in this movie, that this was going to be the last one.
For
and
sure.
that's why Loomis, well, we're assuming he gets killed off here. I mean, he was in that explosion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how he would, well, they figured out a way to make him
He
survive.
has burns all over his body in part 4.
Yeah. But that is why Carpenter killed off Michael Myers at the end of the movie as well, which once again, in this franchise, they will find a way to bring him back.
Yes, of course, of course.
And it makes sense because when asked to do another sequel, Carpenter wanted to do a series of anthology films under the Halloween banner. Mm-hmm. So that makes sense where Season of the Witch came for part 3.
And we love part 3. I personally think it's great.
I do like it. And I do also understand why people were disappointed because now we're 2 movies in. And
right.
if Season of the Witch was Halloween 2, I think people would have went, okay, it's an anthology. But because now we've established Michael Myers, this is who they're coming to see.
Right.
It was a shock a disappointing shock to not see him in part 3 if you were expecting him.
1,000,000% yes.
Yeah.
But our zaddies in part 3.
Tom
Tom
Atkins.
baby.
Yes.
Okay, I have tidbits. Do you want to tell you your tidbits or what do you want to do?
I want you to go.
Okay. All right, here we go. So there is an alternate version of Halloween 2, sometimes referred to as the television cut. It aired on network television since the 1980s, with most of the graphic violence and blood edited out, and many minor additional scenes added, though while others were removed to probably make up for it. So originally, they explored filming in 3D for this movie.
Oh my gosh. Was this around the time where that was super popular?
It was, yes. We were getting into the 3D, Jaws 3D. We're getting into 3D here, right?
Okay.
So Deborah Hill is quoted as saying that they investigated a number of 3D processes, but they were very, very expensive. And so most of the projects that they do involve a lot of night shooting, and it's hard to do that in 3D.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of interesting.
That is really interesting. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine this being in 3D?
No. And we did talk about Jamie Lee Curtis wearing the wig because she had cut her hair, right? And okay, so Lance Guest, who played Jimmy, took his own bump on that slip, and they did it in one take.
Did he actually hit his head? I'd have to watch it back to see if it looks like a safe bump.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because you really can hurt yourself that way.
Oh, of course. Yeah, for sure. Okay, one little extra one, and then I'll talk about more in the extended. But to achieve the blood tears coming down Michael's face, Dick Warlock had a bulb of fake blood. And so when he stumbled back and put his hand on the mask, that's when the blood would be released and it comes down. The tears come down over the mask.
That's like pro wrestling right there.
I know, right?
The little sleight of hand, because you didn't even have to do that. You could have just cut.
I think it's really cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. And then most of the film was shot at Morningside Hospital in LA. And the exterior shots of the hospital are used in Society. And that's the movie that has Dick Warlock's son in it.
Okay.
Because we were talking about that when we
Yes.
covered that episode. It's also seen in Fast Times at Ridgemont High as well. And then they also shot at the Pasadena Community Hospital in Pasadena.
Okay. So Dick Warlock's sons, it's Lance Warlock, that's the boy with the boombox, and Billy Warlock is one of the teenagers that asked Deputy Gary if he has seen Ben Tramer.
And I believe Billy Warlock was in Society.
Okay.
I'm almost positive.
That name does sound familiar.
Yes,
so probably.
he's the lead in Society. He's the
he's the lead?
He's the lead, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Now I want to go back and look at him again in Halloween 2. And yeah, oh my gosh, I didn't even put that together when I was
neat, right?
Yeah.
I freaking love this movie, and I'm so glad that we've covered it because I've wanted to cover it since we started.
Yeah.
I just love it.
I definitely appreciate it a lot more this time around, analyzing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked it before, but I hadn't seen it in a long time.
I'm just such a huge fan of the Halloween franchise. I really do. Minus the reboots. I didn't really enjoy those too much. I liked the first reboot, the 2018. But there's just something about the Halloween movies that are so comforting to me. They're like Scream. The Scream movies are the same for me. They're they're comforting, and they remind me of the fall. They remind me of the Halloween around spooky season.
Yeah, I do have a fun fact about the theatrical ending versus the TV ending.
Tell me.
Which I think will answer some of our questions about Jimmy too. So in the theatrical version, we see that it ends with a gray area of whether or not Jimmy survives. We don't really know what happened to him.
Right.
And in the television cut, it has an extended ending showing Jimmy alive, bandaged head, in the ambulance with Lorie.
That makes me so happy because I feel like Jimmy and Loomis are the baby faces. Loomis, though,
he's wild, but I like him for sure.
Oh my God, I love him. I have a great Loomis action figure, actually.
Hell yeah.
He's cool as shit. I love him.
Imagine you brought all of your Halloween action figures. That'd be crazy.
I considered it. I really did. And I was like, oh, I can't.
No, it's a lot. Yeah. We have a nice little setup here.
I like it.
We got Michael and his coiffed.
Oh my God, his hair. Oh dear. That coif.
Every time we look at it, she's like, he needs a hair mask.
He needs a hair mask.
No,
let me help you out.
I have some more fun facts, but I think I'm going to save them for the Patreon extended.
Okay, that sounds good. Do you love Halloween too?
I do. I really do.
That makes me so happy. I love when we cover a movie and we both love it.
Yeah, we have to.
The best.
I mean, I guess we don't have to. We definitely have not in the past at certain times.
I feel like lately though, we've been like rocking out movies that we both really like.
Yeah, I think this loop, I've seen every single movie we're covering already, like in the past.
Me too, me
so
too.
it's just a refresher for me.
This is a good loop.
Hell yeah.
I'm jazzed to record the rest.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, or listening, if you're listening wherever you get your podcasts.
Yes, we are on social media at Chainsaw Girls Pod on TikTok, Instagram. We have YouTube. We do shorts on there. You can send us an email, chainsawgirlspod@gmail.com. If you haven't already, please give us a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It really does help the podcast grow. And if you haven't already, subscribing to our YouTube channel also really, really helps the podcast grow.
Yes. Did we already mention we have a Patreon?
No.
Oh, because we have a Patreon. You can follow the Patreon for free, by the way. Every week we post which movie we're going to be airing the following week. If you are a Patreon member, you get a whole lineup of what we're covering in our loops.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool. Plus bonus episodes, extended episodes,
Early episodes,
live watch-alongs of movies quarterly.
Yes.
A lot of other stuff. And we also shout out our top patrons of the month,
which we're going to do right freaking now.
Hell
So
yeah.
Here we go. Jolene, John M, Jonathan W, Rob V, back in 1996, David T, Heather D, Franchise Driller, aka Ryan, John W, Josh N, Millie C, Adam G, Chris S, Alexis T, Adam VL, and James C. Thank you so much for being top patrons. We appreciate you so much.
Okay, bye.